over 46,000 birds have been killed and 30 farms affected by the highly pathogenic avian influenza disease only a month after Ghana recorded its first case. The Greater Accra region has the most infections as 21 farms have been infected, killing 21,600 birds. In the Central region, 13,657 birds have died. In the Ashanti region, you have 4 farms being infected, causing the death of 7,977 birds. Listen to the Director of Veterinary Services Directorate, Dr. Patrick Abeka, briefing the media on the latest figures earlier today.
For the Greater Accra region. And let me assure the farmers that we are also doing everything possible that whatever birds that the Veterinary Services Directorate destroys, we will make sure that you will be taken care of. You will be compensated for the birds. What we've heard of late is that on some of your platforms, the message is that they should not allow the veterinary services to come in and destroy these birds because they are sure that they will not be compensated. This is false. If you do that, we will not be able to contain this disease. It is spreading. And it is our livelihoods, the poultry industry that is at stake. That's why we are trying to stop this disease from spreading. So if you are doing that, you are not helping us. The ministry is doing everything possible to make sure that we contain this disease. So far, apart from Greater Accra region, we have had 3 farms in the Central region, 2 in the Volta region, and 2 farms in the Ashanti region. We do not want this disease to spread beyond these farms, and we are doing everything possible to make sure that we contain the disease, and we cannot do that without your help. And I hope this is why we are all here today to understand ourselves. Send a message to your farmers that government, we are receiving the necessary support from government to make sure that the resources are.
So the figures are indeed worrying, the Greater Accra leading in the wave of infections. Let's break it down for you further. My colleague Faustina Safo joins us via Zoom to give us some more detail. Fausti, break down the figures for us. We know the Greater Accra is leading, but what are the details? You'd have to unmute your device, Faustina. So that's my colleague Faustina Safo joining us via Zoom to bring us details of this infections as it increases, in parts of the country, the Greater Accra region, the Central region, and the Volta region having farms and birds being infected. The Veterinary Service Director says it is doing all it can to contain the situation. Faustina Safo is back on the line. Fausti, hopefully we can hear you this time. The Greater Accra is leading, but what are the details? Share with us. Well, we cannot have Faustina Safo at the moment. We're working on that technical challenge. Once we do, we'll bring you those details. But what is the Veterinary Services Directorate doing to contain the spread of the disease, especially in the capital? Joining me also on Zoom is the Regional Veterinary Officer at the Veterinary Services Directorate, Dr. Joseph Abo. Thank you very much, sir, for your time here on Joy News Prime. Share with us the measures that your directorate has put in place to ensure that this is curtailed and not spread further, especially in the regions that are recording a lot of cases.
Yes, good evening to listeners. First of all, I would like to thank the Director of Veterinary Services and the Minister of Agric for entrusting this outbreak to us so that we can contain it. Yes, what we are doing is that we have informed all our district officers to go around the farms and conduct active surveillance. By active surveillance, we mean they should go and search for the AI diseases. So they are in touch with the poultry farmers, and poultry farmers are willing to give us the information. So when bears die, we advise them to send the bears to the veterinary services laboratory, free of charge. We don't charge for testing. When it is confirmed positive, we mobilize and move there to help them to contain the disease. And what we do is that we do depopulation. First, they were using to destroy the birds, but humanly, we kill the birds, and it is called depopulation. After doing that, we disinfect the farms. We are involving the One Health team. In One Health concept, we mean the human, animal, and the environment. So we move together with the environmental health officers of the district assemblies, the disease surveillance of the district assemblies, NADMO, and the Department of Agri staff. We mobilized and moved to the location. We depopulate the birds, and the environmental health people carry out the disinfections of the farms. And the disinfection, we are scheduled to do it every week, 3 times, so that by the time the farm is ready, maybe let's say 21 times 3, that's around 63 days, we will be having the farm ready to raise stock. But what we have observed during our runs is that poultry farmers, some of them, because of fear of no compensation, they are throwing the birds away instead of them bringing. If their birds die, they give it to Bola Bola. I think you know what I mean. These people with the motorcane, they read there, they give the best to them. Because of that, the disease is spreading like wildfire in the Greater Accra region.
Okay, so that is the major reason for the spread we are seeing in the Greater Accra region?
Yes, that's the reason. Because they give it out, they go, they throw it on the other animals. Good. Other people also, they give it out, who go and prepare and eat it. But throwing the water away, people step in and go to their houses. So now, even today in community, we have a report that there's outbreak in a household where turkeys, guinea fowls, and ducks are dying. You know, it is not a poultry farm in a house. All this is dispose of the birds. It will be very difficult for us to contain it. We are doing all that we can do day and night. The poultry farmers will testify. Sometimes 11 o'clock in the night, we are there killing birds and burying.
Yes, and I just want to find out, because of how wide this is spreading, and because especially in the Greater Accra region, has there been any case of human infection recorded anywhere so far?
Not yet. We have taken, as I said, we are using a
Well, we seem to have a challenge there with the connection to Mr. Abol, who is with the Veterinary Services Directorate, telling us what they're doing. We have Mr. Abol back on the line. Yes, you were saying that we've not recorded any human infection so far.
Yes. We said yes, we have taken samples from human and we have not recorded any of them, but we are still monitoring. The disease surveillance officers are still on the ground monitoring, and if they have any signs of fever and any other coughing and it's flu, so it will be like the COVID or that seasonal flu, the same symptoms that we are searching for, and we will continue to monitor the public.
And just before you go, Mr. Abol, the issue of compensation is very big when it comes to this. That is certainly an issue of concern for the farmers who have to dispose of their birds. Walk us through the processes. I mean, how are these funds readily available for the farmers so they can begin production again once their farms are ready?
VSG, as a directorate of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, we are not directly involved in compensation. But what we know and recommendation by FAO, that for farmers to for us to be able to contain the disease, compensation must be paid. And we know that in the Public Health Act 851 of 2012, it states that veterinary services, upon suspicion of infection that's communicable like AI, we can destroy the birds.
Very well.
And the compensation is determined by the compensation board. So what we will do is that we are compiling all the lists. We will attach the lab report and issue certificate to each farmer. So they will also present it, and we present our final report to the Minister of Food and Agriculture, and they will carry it on. But from assurance that we have from the deputy ministers, they assure us that they will be sorted. There will be compensation. And we know
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Abol. We're grateful for providing us all those details. That's Dr. Joseph Abol with the Veterinary Services Directorate. Let's go back to my colleague, Faustina Safo, who has all the figures for us. And it's important to understand what is happening so that you out there will be careful in your dealings, especially when it comes to, birds. Faustina, give us the details. Let's start with the Greater Accra region. Faustina, you'd have to unmute your device.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear. So give us the details as you have it.
So still, the Greater Accra region is leading the way when it comes to infection. So far, 21 farms have been affected. The breakdown of the figures, as at 8th of August, this is at the figures that we have. The first farm is at Lashibi. There, 840 birds were in stock, and all 840 of them died naturally. Also at Mungwa, 1,150 birds were in stock. All of them died naturally. At Klagon, we had 750 birds in stock. 450 of them died naturally. 300 had to be put to death by the veterinary services. At Nungwa, we had 200 birds in stock. All 200 of them died naturally. At Dakuma, we had a bird farm there as well, 57 birds in that farm. All of them died naturally. At Nungwa, 134 birds. All of them died naturally. At Sakumono, 60 birds. All of them died naturally. And at Teshi Camp, 1,100 birds. 805 of them died naturally, and 295 of them had to be put to death. At Teshi, 2,200 birds were in that farm, and 1,541 of them died naturally, while 659 had to be put to death. At Nungwa, we had 1,100 birds in the farm. All of them died naturally. At Nungwa 84, they also had another farm there where 840 of them were in stock. The birds, 490 of them died naturally, while 350 of them had to be put to death. At Laboni, 50 birds were found in that farm. 20 of them died naturally. 30 had to be put to death. At Achimota, 310 birds were found in that farm. 105 of them died naturally, while 205 had to be put to death. At Klagon Waterworks, we had 600 birds. 650 birds, I beg your pardon, in that farm, and 40 of them died naturally, while 610 of them had to be put to death. At Teshi Camp, we had 244 birds there. 234 of them died naturally, while 10 had to be put to death. At Domi CFC, we had 2,000 birds. 120 of them died naturally. The rest had to be put to death. At Mungwa Farm, 7,000 birds were found there. 3,539 died naturally, while 3,461 had to be put to death.
So clearly, Faustina, I mean, this is widespread. I'm listening to the areas you're mentioning from all the way from Lashibi, Klagon, Nungwa, to Laboni, Domekwabinya, Dakuman. I mean, these are major cities in the capital here. And so it is clear, the message is that you have to be very careful, especially if you're in the Greater Accra region, as far as this outbreak is concerned. Many thanks to you, Faustina Safo, for bringing us those details on the outbreak. In a related development, the Greater Accra Regional Association of Poultry Farmers have announced prices for eggs. A crate of large eggs that were previously sold at 19 cedis will now be sold for 24 cedis. A crate of medium-sized eggs is now going for 22 cedis, and small eggs will now be sold at 20 cedis. President of the association, Gifty Rodor, says they are having to make price adjustments due to the high cost of feeds and the impact of the bird flu.